This is Carl at National RV Detroit. I'm going to walk you through this 2025 Flagstaff Microlite. And the model number is 22 SQS. Okay? So this is not a floor plan or sales video, it's a how-to video. So I'm just going to show you some of the features and how they work, okay? So starting at the door side rear, we have power stabilizers, as you can see. Switch back here, one switch back here controls both rear, and there's a switch up front that controls both front, of course. You have a power awning with LED strip. This rail here, your griddle hangs on. There's also a small utility table that hangs on there also, so keep that in mind. You have to connect the grill. This comes with a rubber quick connect LP line, so you'll plug that in right here under the trailer. As you can see, there's a fitting there. So you have to hook up to the LP system in order to get gas to the griddle. So to do that, and also you have outside speakers. This is a vent for the range hood. So if you're going to be venting, if you're cooking and you want to vent to the outside, you can see there's two little buttons there, one on each side. Make sure you push up on those with your thumb or index finger and let the baffle flap freely when you're venting to the outside. You have a TV hookup here, and you get the other piece that goes on the TV that's inside. The other piece is inside. And you have signal out plus power, so you can put a TV there if you choose to. Your water heater is right here, and of course this trailer is winterized, but let me see if that's in there tight. Yeah, so this is empty right now, so it's bypassed and it's set up for winter because it's winterized. So keep that in mind. It's empty now, but you always want to fill it before you ever turn it on to use it. Whether you're using the electric heating element or you're using the gas burner, you always want to make sure the tank is filled with water before you turn it on. Okay. Now I'll show you the switches when we get inside for the electric heating element. The heating element is behind here, and then of course that's the gas burner. So I'll show you those when we get inside. Okay. This is front stabilizer, of course. Switch. Now this is just a pre-wire here, in case you wanted to add this Go Power portable battery charger. It's a solar panel that kind of folds up, and you would just point it right at the sun and plug it in here, and that's wired right to your batteries there. So it's just a pre-wire for a battery charger. Okay. You're getting a hitch with this. So this is a Husky centerline weight distribution hitch with built-in sway control. So we'll show you how that operates when you pick up. Your table that we talked about, your utility table, looks like it's sitting right there. You can't see it very well, but it's there. Keep that in mind. You have a double battery box. You have one battery in here, but you can double it up and add two if you choose to. That gives you a better, it gives you double the storage that you normally would have, which is, with a solar setup, it's kind of beneficial to double your storage. So you can do that if you choose to. You have two LP tanks, power tongue jack with a hitch light. And if this ever fails, you can pull the plug right off the top here, and there's a hex in there, and you can use a socket or a crank, whatever, and get yourself out of trouble by manually cranking this to get you hitched and unhitched, okay? Also, one thing to remember, there's a kill switch for the battery. You can't see it very well. Maybe I can point to it here. Hopefully you can see that, I'm not sure. But that's a kill switch for the battery. You can shut it off if you choose to. Docking lights. This is the fill for your fresh water tank. Now, of course, the most common way to get water to the trailer is the city water hookup, right? But if you're camping someplace without city water, you can pre-fill this tank, take the water with you, and then use the onboard water pump to pump the water. So all the plumbing will work as though you have city water. You'll just be pumping it from the tank. So keep that in mind. You always have that as an option. I'll show you where the water pump switches when we get inside also. And this is your griddle. They got stuck here. You also have your dump hose kit in there. This is your griddle and the rails that hang on the pieces that hang on the rails. And this is the cast iron griddle top right there. Okay. You have a slide top around this one, so it keeps debris off of your slide outs. These are just storage here. That is your shore cord. We're away from the building now, so we're running off battery. But there's your 30 amp shore cord. Dump valves, of course, gray and black. Even though the handles are colored gray and black, the larger valve is almost always the black valve. So you could just say it always is because it's that common. But if you don't have colored handles, look for the larger valve. You know that's for the toilet and water and waste. And then the gray one, of course, is sink and shower water. Okay. You hook up here. Okay. So this is your city water hookup right here. That's how you get water to the trailer. 9 times out of 10, you just hook it on there, turn it on, you're all set. You have campground cable and satellite through right here. Now, this is where you draw antifreeze into the trailer right here. So that's something you'll have to educate yourself a bit about if you're going to winterize it yourself. Right now it's winterized, but that's where you draw it in from, okay? When winterizing. One last thing about the plumbing. This is the black tank flush right here. So basically you hook the hose at the dump station, the fresh water hose at the dump station onto here, and then when you turn it on, it'll spray out the inside of the black tank. It'll clean off the sensor so you get a good reading. But keep in mind, like it says on the sticker, always make sure that the black tank valve is in the open position before you turn the water on. You don't want too much pressure to build up, so make sure you have that open, okay? This is where your coiled sprayer, which you do have a coiled sprayer in here, hooks up to here, hot and cold water. Okay. You're pre-wired for a backup camera if you're interested. Okay. And you have a ladder, which makes it easy to inspect the roof. The manufacturer states every 90 days you should go up there and inspect the roof. Make sure there's no problems up there at all. So you can't see what's happening up there unless you look, so periodically you have to look to stay ahead of any potential problems, okay? Odds are you're not going to have to do anything, but you don't know till you look. Okay, so our slide room is in, obviously. So we'll start here. We'll get some lights here. Okay. So this is your power awning here. Always leave the awning in unless you're going to stay at the trailer, right? It's something you don't want to leave out unattended, because if you do, the weather can damage it very quickly. Your slide room here, we're just going to push out. Let me get a better grip on it. There we go. Very simple. Always make sure the doors are latched. You know, nothing to get caught on this. Make sure there's nothing in front of it. It's kind of important to, some do but some don't, but I suggest you travel with the table in the down position, sitting on those cleats there. Therefore it can't bounce around and damage something. So keep that in mind also. I'll talk to you a bit more about that in a minute. Okay, so now we got the slide room out. Your keys are hanging right here. All right. So the things we have not dealt with yet are your water heater on gas is right here, right? Your water heater on electric is right there. Never run it without water in the tank, remember that. Your water pump turns on here. That water pump's used to pump fresh water out of the fresh water tank. If you don't have city water, it's also used to winterize the trailer. And you have tank heaters on this one, so you turn that one on, and each tank, your black tank, your gray tank, and your fresh water tanks all have heating pads on them. So this will extend your camping season. So that's the tank heaters. Okay. and of course your levels. Alright, so this is your solar controller. This is how you tell what's happening with your solar panel. So this one rotates through, so I'll talk you through it as we go. This is my favorite screen with the dual readouts. 12.4 volts DC are in the system right now. It'll be higher than that, but we're running off battery and solar right now, okay? Below that number is 4.2 amps. That is the gain from the solar panel. So it's taking sunlight and it's storing 4.2 amps of electricity in your batteries right now. So, you know, and we're in a semi-shady spot right now. The sun is low in the sky, so that'll really go up as the day goes on. So keep that in mind. And then you have your total voltage in the system. You have your temperature of the battery, and back around again. So it tells you everything you need to know about what's happening with your solar panel. And there's also some more functions that you can read up about if you're interested, but that's the main gist of it. So we have that, okay? That's your solar controller for your solar panel. Now, let me look around a bit here, like I should have done to begin with. Now this has a power converter, which all trailers do. What the power converter I'll show you in a minute, it converts AC to DC power, right? And then you have this device here, which is your inverter. Okay, this does the opposite. This inverts power. It starts with 12 volt DC from your batteries. You gotta hold it a few seconds to light it up. There you go. 12 volt DC from your batteries and inverts it to 120 AC. So it turns your battery 12 volt DC into 120 AC, and then sends the power to inverted receptacles. This one says it's inverter circuit, right? So what the deal is, if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you don't have any AC power, but you need to run a blender or some kind of a small appliance, you can just kick on the inverter and it'll take the 12 volt DC out of the battery. That's why I mentioned earlier why it's really beneficial to have two batteries, so you have double the storage, okay? Keep that in mind. And this would be a classic reason why, because you're drawing from the batteries to run AC appliances. So right now it's converting the DC to AC, and you could plug a AC appliance in here, even though we're not plugged into any shore power right now, right? We're just going off the battery and the sunlight. So that's what inversion is, and you have an inverter. So keep that in mind. So the inverter is sending this AC power, like I said, to the receptacles to run a small appliance. Now you can run the big appliance. You can't run the air conditioner off of it, or the microwave, for example, because those draw too many amps. They're too big of machines, you know, they use too much power. But for smaller appliances, it's great, okay? And you can shut it off when you're not using it, because you don't need to be inverting power unless you need it, okay? Okay. So that's the inverter. So I showed you the solar panel, which basically stores DC power in your batteries. And then I showed you the inverter, which inverts DC power to AC power, so it turns 12 volt DC into 120 AC. And over here you have the converter, which does the opposite. This takes 120 AC and turns it into 12 volt DC. So here we go. You have, as long as you're plugged into shore power, you have 120 AC at these circuit breakers here, and they're all labeled, just like you'd see at home. Then the power is converted over here to DC, so it takes the AC power, 120 AC, and converts it to 12 volt DC here, and you see you have 12 volt fuses, and they're all labeled. So in that sense, it distributes your AC power here throughout your trailer, and then it converts AC to DC and distributes the AC power throughout the trailer here. And it's also a battery tender, so it'll sense how much energy your battery or batteries on the tongue have and need. As long as you're plugged in, it'll send as many amps necessary to keep them charged. So it's also a battery charger. So AC and DC distribution panels, AC to DC power converter, and a battery charger all rolled into one. And this one detects the type of battery automatically, so you don't have to worry about, you know, setting anything on it. It'll know what type of battery you've put on it. When it comes to the solar controller I showed you, if you were to add lithium batteries to the system, for example, you'll have to tell it that they're lithium. If you're interested in learning that, you can just either go online to one of their videos, or look at the little just a little booklet that comes with it, and it'll tell you how to do that. Okay. Right now it's set for wet, basic deep cycle marine batteries. Okay. Alrighty. So when you're plugged into shore power, this thing charges your battery. When you're pulling down the road, your tow vehicle's alternator charges the batteries, and the solar panels charge them throughout the day as they can, depending on the conditions in the sky. So, okay. All right. So let's see, where do we leave off here? We'll go to here next. This is obviously your range. I'm not sure if he's got the gas turned on here, so we're not. I'll just talk you through it either way. This is the sparker. Oh, no, this one. It's better yet. It has the built-in sparker. So you have 3 knobs here for the 3 burners, and that's for the oven. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, it's that simple. That's how you light it. You do that with all the burners. Now this one has a pilot light all the way down here. So basically you're just going to turn this to the picture of the pilot light. You depress it. After it lights, you still hold it for another 10 or 15 seconds to heat up the thermocouple. Then you're going to go to operating temperature, and it cycles as an oven does. When you shut it off, the flame goes out. So does the pilot light. So you have to relight the pilot light each time you use the oven. Then you have an ambient light here and an oven light, and you're all set. You always travel with this in a down position so you don't damage it, but never put it down when the burners are still hot. I told you about the vent on the outside with the baffle that you want open when you're venting. So there you have it. You hear the fan kick on. So you want to open that up to vent to the outside. You have light here. The microwave works like any other microwave. Okay, your refrigerator, 12-volt DC refrigerator. So it runs on 12-volt DC. You can also shut it off here. That's important to know, because if you're competing for DC power, let's say, this is one of the largest users of DC power in the trailer, right? So if you want to take this out of the loop by shutting it off, you'll be saving that much DC. A good example or a good illustration, let's say you're storing it and you leave the solar panels on because you want the batteries to stay charged. Well, if you leave the refrigerator going, it's going to compete for that energy, and you're probably going to be at a deficit, in the sense that your batteries will not be charged or barely charged. They'll have barely anything in them, because most of the energy will be going to keep this running. But if you shut it off, when you get in the trailer to get ready to go, your batteries are going to be charged up, because this thing was not using up the amperage. So keep that in mind, that you can shut this off. And this is just some stuff here. This is your booklet with all your information in it, everything you need to know about this. Okay, let me pick up the pace a bit, because we've only got a half hour to get this video done before it sets another file. So to pull the Murphy bed down, we'll do it when you pick up. You just jackknife this couch flat and it folds over it. It's very simple. To drop this table, you push this to the right until you hear the click. Then you bend this at the hinges. It'll drop right down onto here. There's Velcro. And if you drop it down there when you're traveling, it's much better, because it can't bounce around and accidentally break a window or something if you hit the perfect bump, So it's more secure if you travel with it in a down position. Alrighty, so here we go. The fan is a four-speed fan with a cover on it. GFCI here. Remember, all the plugs in the trailer are wired through a GFCI, even if it's a regular plug. They're still wired through this. So if any receptacle doesn't work, always think GFCI first. Okay. This is an eco device called a shower miser. So basically, this is a water recirculator. So while the water's heating up, it sends it around in a loop. Normally, when you're heating up your water, the cold water just goes down the drain while it's heating up, so you're wasting perfectly good water and perfectly good storage space in your gray tank. So some areas now of the country, you can't really waste water like that, in drought areas and that sort of thing. So what you do is you put this lever into this position to here, and it'll send it around in a loop from here to the water pump to the water heater to here, back around and around and around in a loop. Once it heats up, this will turn a beige color, beigeish brown color, and you'll see it plain as day. You know the water's heated up. So then you'll just flip it over to normal position and it turns into a regular shower. So what you've done is you've heated up your shower water without wasting any fresh water or any storage space in your gray tank. So that's the shower miser. Okay, always travel with the doors in this position, latched. You never want them sliding freely or they'll break. Someday, somewhere, they'll slam just right. So you always want to latch it like that. When it comes to your toilet, it works like any other RV toilet. There's a flush pedal there. After you get to the campground, you hook up your power and your water, then you'll come in here and you'll put a dose of chemical right in the bowl, like you always do, right there. And then you'll step on the pedal and hold it down until you put at least a gallon of water in there, along with the chemical. You can use more than a gallon, just don't use less. Most people use more. And you're all set. If you don't use the chemical in the water, that's considered using it dry. And if you do that, it'll get clogged up. It'll be a real mess. So you always want to use the chemical and at least a gallon of water to start off with, okay? That's important. And the fan is a great fan. It has 4 speeds plus a cover so you can open it during the rain if you want. And it's a great exhaust fan. Obviously, also it's great for condensation and just about any reason you'd want to vent. So, okay? All right, so I think that's going to be it. I have to look around here. I did not prep this, and we've got a new guy here. Everybody's supposed to do it exactly the same, but let me. I got mind my camera work here. I'm trying to operate this zipper here. All right. Okay, so here's some of the stuff. Your remotes. That's for your outside TV. There's also should be a bracket. I'll have to look around to find it. This comes with it. It's a tire monitor. You have to program it for your wheels. Each one of your wheels has a sensor mounted to the wheel itself inside the tire directly across from the valve stem. So you can program this so it'll tell you if your hubs are overheating, if you're losing air pressure, all that sort of things. And this monitor will go up in the cab or up in the tow vehicle with you. So you have that. That's a great thing. It has to be programmed to your vehicle. And some touch-up crayons, some batteries, and like I said, there's going to be a couple more things here. But I'll have them laid out for you so when you pick up you'll be able to see them, okay? Basically we're just talking about a toilet paper holder and a towel rack that most people don't use because it's hard to hit a stud in the wall. These are only 3/16 panels, so most people use a stand that they store away, that sort of thing. But we'll go over that also. Okay, so thank you for purchasing your trailer here at National RV Detroit. Please remember what I said about inspecting the roof. Every 90 days, and just stick with it. It's an important thing to do. And right now, remember, we're winterized, so you have to de-winterize it once the warm weather comes, and make sure you don't run the water heater without water in it, okay? Thank you very much.